All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. It's a nice, cool evening here in South Florida. Welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast. We are joined here this evening with a candidate for Florida governor, Dayna Marie Foster. She is joining us here today, and she's going to be answering some of our questions. And if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. We know she's on a time limit, so we're going to try and get these questions in as quickly as possible. So, Dayna Marie Foster, welcome to the Adams Brothers Podcast.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome, and we are happy to have you here on our podcast. And we want to just jump right on into it. So let's tell everybody about Dayna Marie Foster. Tell whatever you would like to tell the viewers out there that's watching right now about Dayna Foster. You have the floor right now.
Absolutely. So, yes, my name is Dayna Marie Foster, and I'm running to become our next governor of our great state of Florida. I have been a public servant since I was 19 years old. So my very first job actually fell underneath Broward County government within the Broward County Libraries Division. I worked at the African American Research Library and Cultural Center. And so I grew up and became a woman through public service. And so putting the needs of others before my own, it's just kind of ingrained in who I am. It's not something that's on me, but in me, if that makes sense.
It does.
And so working at what we called ARLIC for short back then, we helped with so many different things. Working in a library, it's more of a social good than I think people know. And so what that means is it's kind of like almost like being in a community center. So there are a lot of different facets of public policy that I was exposed to. Of course, back then I didn't realize it, but now being a woman, yes, I understand how I have experience working within the system in a very direct kind of way. And what I mean by that is with our patrons, I have helped them apply for public assistance, whether it's SNAP and EBT benefits. I've helped them navigate through applications for Medicaid or Medicare. I've helped them with grants. I've helped with job applications. And when you see how just certain things are broken, we have these legislators in Tallahassee where they're on the back end of crafting policy, but public servants are on the front lines of when that policy trickles down from that top to bottom approach. And we see the inconsistencies and the realities of what good policy is versus bad policy. And I was thrust into an even more direct role of being exposed to how broken our system is once I became an educator 5 years ago. So I am a teacher at my alma mater of Fort Lauderdale High School.
Okay.
Yes, go Ls. In my 5th year of teaching, but it will be my final year of teaching because there is so much that I feel like needs to be done within our community, our state, and our country. And as much as the most impactful, meaningful change occurs within the classroom, it needs to be widespread. And I don't leave public education, without it being a heavy heart. I love my students. I don't call them my students. I call them my kids. I don't necessarily have children of my own, but they are like my kids. And a lot of my time is spent with them every single day. And so just to kind of give a insight as to what it is to be a teacher and how you can see the system for what it is. A couple days ago, I had a student and I was helping him one-on-one. I'm a math teacher. And he was at my desk and he kind of talks a little loud. And he asked me a question and he realized how loud he was after he had asked that question. And he said, "Miss Foster, did they cut off your food stamps too?" And the whole class kind of started to laugh and giggle because he was so loud and they don't understand the workings of what public assistance is and what it means and the gravity of how it helps millions of people. But I saw his face get kind of small. And of course, right, I went into classroom management mode, got the kids calmed down. But I had to ask him, are you okay? Is your family okay? Like, do you need anything? Because of what has been transpiring over the last couple of weeks with SNAP benefits being on pause, people scrambling, wondering how are they going to feed their families and how are, they're going to put Thanksgiving dinner on the table. And so when you see something, even just in that one isolated incident that has so much weight, so much gravity, and it's widespread. This is happening not just in my classroom, but across the entire state. For me to sit by and not do anything, yeah, I might just be a teacher. Yeah, I might not have any political experience, but it doesn't mean that I don't understand politics. It does not mean that I don't understand public policy. It does not mean that I don't have any experience. My experience is just different. And as I like to always call it, it's coming from the front lines of real life. It's coming from the end process of putting out a bill, writing it into law, and it trickling down to us, we, the people, the everyday working Floridians.
Okay. Now, Ms. Foster, you're running for the office of governor here in the beautiful Sunshine State of Florida,
Yes.
and that's a very important high level office here in the state of Florida in government. If you're elected as governor, what will be the single most important issue that you'll tackle if you're elected governor, and why?
So that's a very difficult question. I don't believe that there's one single area that can be addressed um, once I were to take office, should Florida choose to have me as their governor. And that's why with our campaign, we have crafted what we call our 6 key policy pillars. And I always say that our policy pillars are not just talking points. They are stemmed in not just my personal real life experiences, but what I've encountered as being a public servant, being an educator, volunteering and doing nonpartisan work, and just that those boots on the ground, hearing the stories of real working people. And when you hear and you listen, because good leadership listens and then it responds accordingly, there is no one isolated area. So within the first year of our administration, we intend on creating economic opportunity for all. We intend on addressing the affordability crisis within our state, especially as it relates to housing. We want to establish healthcare as a right, not a privilege. And when you think about it also too, we live in the United States of America, the leader of the free world, and yet we don't even have universal health care for all of our citizens.
Yeah.
Um, we also want to address gun reformation. We want to dismantle this anti immigrant propaganda that's taking place across our nation and our state. And of course, as a teacher, there is an assault happening right now on public schools. And I want to ensure that we are fully funding our public education system. And each of these 6 areas are so multifaceted and layered and complex, right? And I think we'd be here all evening and all week talking about each of these areas in terms of how to address, solving and just providing some type of solution to the problem. But all in all, when you look at each of these areas, people are just in survival mode and it's exhausting. And so, what we hope to do with our plan is to provide some relief so that people can start thriving and living again.
And I wanted to ask you, Miss Foster,
hmm
this is Wayne Adams. I wanted to ask you to expunge more what you were saying on guns, because
hmm
I know a lot of people always ask, want to know where the candidates stand as far as the Second Amendment. What's your
Right.
position on? You said you mentioned guns. What's your position on it?
Hmm. So, as an American, I respect the Second Amendment right wholeheartedly. But at the same time, as an educator and a citizen and a resident of Broward County, and to see how gun violence plagues our communities, we have to have reformation. And I'm not talking about in the sense of where we're taking away or violating people's American rights. No, not at all. What we are doing is that we are going to ensure that we're creating safe communities. When you look here specifically in Broward County, and so many years ago when the tragedy at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School took place, and that shook our entire community, especially within Broward County Public Schools. And even then, with those lives that were lost, innocent lives, young lives, families broken, we still could not come together in unity to ensure that something like this never happened again. And at my alma mater of Florida State University, just earlier this year, there was an active shooter on campus. And I have a sibling who goes to Florida State. So there was fear within my family because we did not know what was going to happen to my brother. We did not know if he was okay. So, as it relates to gun reformation, what we want to do within our campaign and what we're advocating for is things that are just common sense. It's common sense to have universal background checks. It's common sense to establish safe storage laws. It's common sense to strengthen red flag laws. And what that means is ensuring that, for example, like in a high school, if there's a school or school counselor or guidance counselor and they feel that a student is at risk for committing such an act, they're given the necessary tools and resources to ensure that A, it doesn't happen, but also B, the help that they need.
Right.
And so when we look at just even those basic things and also raising the minimum purchasing age, these aren't situations or implications where we're violating rights. Again, it's about protecting Floridians, all Floridians.
Right. And while we're talking about the Second Amendment, what are your thoughts on the new open carry law that was just passed here maybe a month or so ago? What are your thoughts on open carry?
To be honest, I think that yes, we have to uphold the law. I think yes, that we have to respect the law, but at the same time, again, that thread of common sense. I don't know about you, but I don't want to walk into Publix and somebody walks in with a rifle and then I got to be afraid, whether or not something might happen while I'm picking apples. And so it's certain. I don't know about you, but I don't want to walk into Publix and somebody walks in with a rifle and then I got to be, I'm sorry. Whether or not I heard a little bit of an echo, but and so I wouldn't say that I fully support it. I think having a concealed firearm is perfectly fine. And even then, we have this open carry, but there are still limitations. So private businesses have the right to refuse someone to enter. And if someone does enter that business, then there's a whole legality issue there. So with this open carry, I personally feel that there needs to just be more dialogue in terms of what's legal, what's not legal, just to make sure that people are just aware what they can and what they cannot do. But personally, do I support it? No. There needs to just be more dialogue.
Yeah. Well, I'd say this. I know I'm pro Second Amendment. I believe in I believe in open carry. Uh,
Okay.
I believe in the concealed carry, but I still believe
Hmm.
that at least you still should have to go through the state
Hmm.
to get to do that, to get license before
Hmm.
you concealed. I mean, and I know I respect the rule of law,
Hmm.
just like I, I mean, but it's not as bad as everyone thought were thinking that it was going to be. I haven't heard of all these people talking about it was going to be death. I mean, the law has been in law since September 25th, and we haven't seen no carnage yet. And I
Hmm.
pray to God that we don't see
Right. And
carnage.
the key word there, yet. So,
Yep.
it's one of those instances where only time will tell,
Yep.
in terms of how this actually plays out and it manifests. When people follow the law, right, then
Mm-hmm.
everything plays out the way that it should. But
Yeah.
if we look to the pages of history
Mm-hmm.
and those pages are fact, then we can see where discrepancy actually lies. And so, as I said before, only time will tell. It's only just been a few months. I
Mm-hmm.
can only hope that everyone continues to respect the law and abides to the limitations of open carry. Um, and I think we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
You
Fair
know,
enough. Fair enough.
right, right.
Mhm.
Okay. One of my other questions is, well, go back to the economy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We know what the economy is like right now. It's we have tariffs going on, and have people. The rent is crazy and through the roof right now. People can't afford rent, and just to buy a house is just like crazy right now. What are your plans to create good paying jobs for Floridians who don't have a college degree? God bless those the ones that's been to college and have a degree, but
Mhm.
what about the ones that don't have a college degree and to create some good paying jobs for the people that don't have that college
Mhm.
education?
So, what we actually want to do is to help create that bridge, right? So, for individuals that might not have that educational background, that they're able to attain it. We are going to invest in what we call workforce development. And we want to do so because we have to invest in our own. We have so many people from our state that are capable or they're qualified and they're leaving. And so, not to kind of stray away, but even if we just look at the realm of teachers, right? We have a teacher shortage. So, that's something that I'm dealing with personally because I am a teacher myself and just becoming very overwhelmed. But going back to your question, we have to invest in our own. We have to invest in Floridians. And so, like I said, what we want to do is allocate funds within our state budget to ensure that we have workforce development programs. So, whether we're working with unions or we're working with community colleges to create that pathway so that Floridians are able to obtain high paying jobs, they're able to obtain uh, employment within industries like clean energy or biotech, because in addition to creating that economic opportunity, it's kind of like two birds, one stone. We want to address also some of the infrastructure issues that we're dealing with. For example, we've been hearing for years that Miami is going to be underwater, and I'm pretty sure we're there. We have a flooding issue across the entire state.
Yes, we
So,
do.
yes.
Just had one here in Deerfield.
I was just driving. I made a wrong turn a couple weeks ago, but I was coming up from, I think it was the Hollandale Beach area. But I was glad that I took that wrong turn because I was very shocked by how flooded it was, especially out east. And I was
Deerfield.
afraid my car was going to stall out because I don't have a big old SUV, but the water was very, very high.
Mm.
And it's situations like that where it's not exposed enough. And that kind of starts to trickle to another, issue of leadership, making sure that it's boots on the ground and kind of surveying all 67 counties to ensure that the needs are being met at the state level. Um, but in addition to investing in workforce development, we want to make sure that we are helping our entrepreneurs. So whether it's our small business owners, especially in underserved and marginalized areas in rural communities, whether it's grants, loans, we want to give the resources to our entrepreneurs and our small businesses so that they're able to thrive. Again, we're all in this survival mode and we need to get out of it so that we can just breathe a little bit. And I'm very firm that I feel that our working class small businesses are the backbones of our economy. And we are expected to have about a $90 million loss in tourism revenue, which will directly impact our small businesses. And because of this $90 million loss that is projected to occur in relation to tourism, it's because people don't feel comfortable coming to our state. So, on the back end, the way that we also rejuvenate our economy and get our revenue continuing to come in and flow through is having good policies in place so that our visitors feel welcomed and they feel comfortable. Because right now they don't.
And that lead up to that question, what you just said, I wanted to ask you: would you, when you were saying about visitors don't feel comfortable coming here, paraphrasing, would you be a governor that is strong on crime? Because usually Democratic governors are always accused of being weak on crime and woke and all that other propaganda that you hear. What kind of governor will you be on crime?
Well, I think my question to you would be is when you say strong on crime, in what sense?
As far as
gun violence,
prosecuting crime, because like I say, their governors in other cities are accused of being woke and soft on crime. Like out in California, they're saying that Governor Newsom is just letting criminals come in. Would you be a governor that would advocate for tougher laws on the books, tougher punishment for people who do commit crimes, not innocent people, but for people who, the real criminals that commit crimes?
And capital punishment.
So,
and how do you feel about capital punishment?
So I believe that the punishment should match the crime. Absolutely. The term tough on crime, I'm not really sure I fancy too much. As governor, I would ensure to make sure that the law is followed. It is upheld to the highest extent. And in addition, making sure that there are no instances where something occurs wrongfully. And what I mean by that is that we have instances where people are wrongfully accused. So that's on one end. But aside from that, I wouldn't say I'd be tough on crime, but will I uphold the law to the highest extent? Absolutely.
It's a good answer. It's a good answer. Also, what would you, again, I mean, basically you just kind of answered it, but one of my follow-up questions too was, how do you feel about medical marijuana here in the state of Florida? Not medical, I'm sorry.
Recreational.
We have medical now, but how do you feel about recreational? That's the question.
I support whatever the people of Florida determine. So as I believe it was on the ballot as an amendment and it did not pass. So the majority of Floridians did not want that to transpire, and I support their choice. If for whatever reason it comes back on a ballot as an amendment, I think that issue is more of a working issue as it relates to democracy. And I will always be an advocate for upholding democracy and the people's voices. And so I support whatever the people choose through their vote.
Okay, and also, do you support? I know the minimum wage right now is going to be, I believe, next year. I believe it's going to be at $15 an hour. Do you support raising it higher than 15? Because everything is going up so far. Would you support just raising it up again, maybe to about $18 an hour? It's 15. It's going to be at 15 next year, but would you support raising it maybe up to 15? 15. I mean, not from 15 to maybe $18 an hour.
So we do intend on raising minimum wage, and we have our figure as to what it would be. Um, it would be a phased increase,
Mhm.
just like what we're experiencing right now for those who are in jobs and have employment that start at minimum wage. And so I believe for the last 4 years or so, it's been increasing about $1 or so every year. And
Yes.
it and that's to ensure that the budget is not shocked in any which way. Because Florida does have a decent credit rating, and we have a decent amount of funds that are on reserve. So we would ensure that we follow the same type of trajectory should we become governor, or and in our administration, we would have that same kind of phased rollout. Um, so I am in support of increasing minimum wage. Things are absolutely expensive. It is a shame that some individuals have to worry about paying bills, whether it's the difference between either paying their rent on time or missing their credit card payment, or maybe it's paying for groceries, but they're only able to put enough money for gas in their car to fill half the tank, right? Just it, it's hard out here. And it's a shame that within our own state, our residents are not even able to afford to live here. We have people that come here and that flock here from different areas of the country, but Floridians are not able to live within their own home.
And
So, oh no, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. And I'm glad you got there when you said of Floridians. Would you support eliminating property taxes in the state of Florida?
So, that is a very
Yes, it is.
complex issue.
Yes.
And the reason why I say it's very complex is because people like myself are paid
Mhm.
through property taxes. I think a lot of Floridians need to be informed that their property taxes pay for teacher salaries, firefighters, police officers, the things that are considered to be social goods. And I say it's complex because, on one end, this is a source of revenue for the state budget. But on the other end, I understand that when you buy a home, you pay your mortgage, you pay your property taxes, but then after your house is paid, you're still paying that same amount for
Yeah.
property
And you
taxes.
never really own it.
Right. And so there needs to be more dialogue about the political science of it all, of what taxes actually are and what they mean to a state budget and public resources that people get to enjoy, that they don't really, I think, see that these are public resources. So, like I said, being able to pick up the phone and call 911 and expecting paramedics to come out, that comes from property taxes.
Yeah.
So we have to find that happy medium where we're not affecting our revenue stream as a state in terms of our government, but again, we're providing that relief to working Floridians across the entire state.
Because it's my understanding of that. I think and I'm not 100% sure, but I think the governor was saying that he wanted to give the property tax relief to the people that has paid off their homes, like their primary, and if you have a secondary home. I don't think it applies to people that just bought a home and then they're still making mortgage payments and everything, that they would still have to pay those property taxes. But for some people, it would, like me, my house is paid for, so
Mhm.
that would give me some relief on the property taxes. If I think that's my understanding of that I don't know if you know maybe something more than that. Maybe you could correct me, but that was what I kind of thought it was leaning towards. But
To
maybe
my
he,
understanding, yes, I have the same understanding of what the current governor has proposed and
right.
that he would like to implement. Um, but again, when it comes to our state budget, we cannot take any steps to where we're creating a deficit. And so there has to be a solution that is found that will not compromise what already is in place. Um, and so I will not speak on that concretely at this time because when I speak on something, it's because
Mhm.
I know without a shadow of a doubt, this is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And as it relates to the current governor and his proposal, I am not convinced that that is it.
Right.
Yeah. The devil always in the details.
Right.
Always.
And let me jump over to another very, very important topic is insurance. And so many people here in the state of Florida just cannot afford this homeowners insurance and this storm insurance, and now they're forcing you to get flood insurance. And people like me, I can afford it for now, but there are some people out there who's living on Social Security right now, and they can't afford to pay for this homeowners insurance, and they are being forced to live in a home with no insurance on it. So that means if a Category 5 hurricane, like just what the one that hit Jamaica and Cuba, comes to Florida and destroys the homes here, they're not going to have any coverage because they can't afford it. So my question is, what would you do to bring in like more competition here in Florida, bring in more companies, give people more options? What would you do to help bring down the cost of homeowners insurance, flood insurance, and windstorm insurance here in the state of Florida?
So, as it relates to the insurance crisis, which kind of aids in affordability, um, again, that is another issue that's kind of tricky, but it's more of the workings within that sector, right? In terms of you have these companies, they come in, and even if you put certain safeguards in place, these companies are able to just raise the premium. They're going to be able to find a way to get that money to bring it in and line their pockets. And so, as a state, there are legislation ways that we can implement those safeguards to ensure that there are certain controls in place. And that is something that we will ensure that we explore and, if possible, implement within the state to have, like I said, those controls so that our Floridians, again, have that relief. They have the ability to not just survive, but again, to thrive. Um, because yes, absolutely, flood insurance, it's completely necessary, right? Because of our geographic makeup and where we're located, and because we're prone to hurricanes. And even sometimes a really bad rainstorm causes flash floods. But to your point of someone who is on a fixed income, right? Then again, you're putting them in that position of not being able to thrive and they're in survival mode. And there are ways that we can, as a state, come together, have those limitations through legislation, provide some relief as well as it relates to weather protections.
And do you think you would be able to reach across the aisle with the Republicans and independents and everyone else to get things done here in the state of Florida, as far especially with the insurance and with small businesses and with everything? Do you think you will be able to
So
reach across the aisle?
I had made a post on my social media account, but it related to public education and but it's still all interconnected with the reality that as a Democratic governor, one would be working with a Republican led legislature. And so having that unity and that bipartisan effort is completely necessary. But there are going to be instances where maybe that's not going to occur. The way that I am designed as a person is I will always do my best to be collaborative, to work, to ensure that I'm working on the other side of the aisle and so on and so forth. But at the same time, I am an individual where uh, do not take my kindness for weakness. And so, whatever executive power that I need to exercise to ensure that the interests of Floridians are always placed at the forefront of our government, I will absolutely do so where need
We
be.
we have a comment from one of our viewers right now. It
Okay.
says, many homeowners and small businesses have struggled with insurance companies that delay, deny, or underpay claims after natural disasters. What
Mm.
plans do you have to hold these companies accountable? For example, through mandatory audits, comparing
Mhm.
claims paid versus claims denied, or sanctions, or for lack of transparency.
So, oversight is very important. And there is a little bit of a lack thereof at the state level of oversight. And within our plans that we have for within the first year of our administration, we do have oversight committees that we want to implement. So, as it relates to that question for insurance, we definitely can have an oversight committee to ensure that people, when they're making their claims, that they're being addressed in a timely fashion, because there is no reason why, if there's an emergency, you though still are able to do your part, get all the documentation needed to submit that claim, and then for it to be severely delayed when you need the aid right there immediately. So it really just boils down to oversight and ensuring that the state government is standing up in the best interest for Floridians.
Okay. Um, I have two more questions for you.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Uh, what makes you the right person to lead Florida right now?
We see right now within our state and across the entire country that
I have two
people are
more.
just so tired of career politicians.
Um,
And to give benefit of the doubt,
right person to lead Florida right now.
we have leaders who probably started off with honest intentions. I'll give them that.
Mhm.
But at this day and age, when you see the news and you watch everything coming out, and it seems like they wake up every day and they ask themselves, how can we not help the people? And so it's time that we hit a reset button, but not just any type of reset button, because obviously when we look at the foundation of our country, and they always say if you are dissatisfied with your government, you have the right to overthrow your government. Well, obviously, we're not going to necessarily do that exactly to the T, but what we can do is change the trajectory. We can change the societal norm. And rather than just electing someone because they have a name or because they're a career politician, well, when you look at their track history, what have they done for you or for I? And so it's time that we take one of our own from the working class and put them in that position of leadership, because there is a different level of understanding that can actually be implemented within the governor's office. Having a Governor Foster will create an opportunity for working Floridians' voices to finally be at the forefront, and for them to be finally heard, not ignored, not dismissed, because that's what's happening. People across our state just had protests, so a part of a larger national protest, which was actually global. And yet we still have lawmakers and legislators and leaders in place that are making choices and decisions for us that are not reflective of what we are asking for. So now it's time for us, yes, to absolutely have a governor who will listen to the people and then respond accordingly rather than saying, I know what's best for the people. No, the people know what's best for themselves. We know what we need. I know as a teacher, I don't need an assault on public education. I know as a teacher, I don't need to be shortchanged any longer. I know as a teacher, my kids need universal meals. I know as a teacher that we should not have politics in the classroom. So when we look at it from that scheme, again, it's about taking one of our own and putting them in a position of leadership so that we actually are being governed accordingly and appropriately to where we have a government that truly works for us all, not the wealthy, not the well connected, for all Floridians.
Yeah, nice, good answer. And my final question for you would be: we know mental health, mental illness is really big, not only here in Florida but all across the country, and people are having mental problems everywhere. And I don't believe there's enough access to for people with mental illness to go and get the help that they need. I think we can do so much more, and it affects everybody. Someone we know or someone in our family. It's close to all of us. So, how would you improve if elected governor? How would you improve access to mental health services across the state of Florida?
So, a part of establishing healthcare for all is making sure that we are investing in ensuring that Floridians have access to whether it's primary care, preventative care, and even telehealth services. And so, mental health does fall underneath that umbrella to where people shouldn't feel like they have to jump through hoops or hurdles or be made to feel ashamed that they're concerned about their mental health. And so, number one, it starts with ensuring that the dialogue is inclusive. It's ensuring that the resources are there. And again, that comes through investment on our part as the administration to ensure that our Floridians are given the resources that they need. Looking at our state budget, and I mean, it's a very lengthy document, so I haven't gone through it to its entirety, but I have gone through it some. And what I want a lot of people to understand is that money needs to be placed properly. And that's the biggest issue that I find with our state budget. Is money is placed in places, but it's not placed where it needs to be so that it's benefiting Floridians.
Okay, and if you were elected governor, would you reverse the order that the governor and the Republicans put as far as banning books, art displays, or certain things that they felt did not, or they felt was too woke, or whatever the word they love to use? Would you reverse their mandates on book banning and uh, civil rights, on civil rights and all of that?
Yes, absolutely. Right now, see, they don't want us to be woke when it doesn't benefit them. And when we look at the current governor who says we have to or we're going to require high school chapters of a certain organization that promotes a certain thought process and ideology, which is identity. But we can't have Latinos in action on campus. We can't have AP African American courses taught. We can't have certain flags being displayed or murals drawn, or as you're saying, books on the shelves because they're too woke. when all of the above is all about identity. So, yes, absolutely. Without hesitation, I would reverse it.
Yes. We have two more
Yeah, you go ahead
questions.
and read the
And
question
you
now.
got to go up.
Okay.
Go up.
Yeah, it's right here.
So, let me
Yeah,
see.
we'll get you out of here on the
So,
yes. Yes.
so I just click on comments and I can see them, right?
Question now. Okay. Yeah, yeah, you can, but we could just read them off to you if you like to read them. They're in the
In the
comment
chat,
section.
yeah. If
They're
you
in the
have
chat.
if
Yeah.
you have your phone or something going, they're in the chat.
Okay. I'm on a computer, so I can see them.
Yeah.
So Ms. Wilson, she says, what is your stance on Florida's stand your ground law? Do you believe it's working as intended, or do you think it needs to be revised to ensure it's applied fairly and clearly for all citizens? If so, what specific portions would you consider revising, particularly in terms of making the language easier to interpret and clarifying when and how it can be lawfully applied? So I think anything in life can always be improved. And absolutely, because of this question, I can take a look at the law to see how it can be easier to interpret, because that's the thing. The system wasn't designed for everyday people, to ensure that there is a certain level of ease when it comes to not just laws and legislations, but even policies and procedures in terms of navigating the system. And if we create language for this law that is more easily understandable, right, then that helps to take away any issues of confusion or a lack of clarity.
Okay. And there's one last final question in there from Tara Porter. Could you read and answer her question for her, please?
Okay. So, an education for DWLS eliminates anyone from the seal and expungement process, even if they have an offense that's eligible to be sealed or expunged. DWLS is an offense that's handled in traffic court, and many do not know, although it is a traffic offense. It's also considered criminal by FDLE. What will
What will you
Do
do?
about
do
this.
about this? This
Yeah.
is affecting the Black community tremendously.
I'm not sure what DWLS is,
Right.
but yeah. Tara, if you're watching it, can you let us know what those that's DWLS those that stands for? Um, but while we're waiting on her to do that, we'll come back to that question. And
Okay.
there's one last one about there's police misconduct around the country. Uh, Police brutality, officers getting fired from one department, going to 3, 4 different department. We all know what happened to driving while license is suspended.
Suspended. Okay.
Yeah. And what would you support a statewide police misconduct database?
Absolutely. See, this is the thing. When it comes to, let me say this first and foremost, I respect our law enforcement officers and what they do to
Yeah.
protect our communities. But with any discipline, are there bad apples? Absolutely. Whether it's police, whether it's educators, there always sometimes are a few bad apples. And unfortunately, that saying goes, one bad apple spoils the bunch.
Yep.
However, though, our law enforcement officers, their creed is to serve and then protect. And so I definitely would support having a statewide database where we are keeping track of which officers are not abiding by the creed and their oath that they should be standing by. And when we look at what's happening as it relates to like ICE, for example, and officers are performing roles extended or outside of what should just only be in their scope, underneath our administration, we're going to ensure that cops go back to serving and protecting our civilians, not doing the thing of the federal government and their political agenda for division. No.
Okay, and we'll let you go back to that last question that you just read about the driving while license suspended, and how this is affecting the Black community tremendously.
Mm-hmm. So I think it goes back to, again, ensuring that people are well versed in the law, what is legal from what is not, as it relates to driving while one's license is suspended. So I think it goes back to, again, ensuring that I respect the legal system. That's something that I would consult the FDA about. I would not want to just preliminarily make a comment on that and say, this is going to change. And there's a system of checks and balances. I respect the workings of government, but I absolutely understand the sentiment that something like this affects our community the most, as a lot of other things affects the Black community because of how the system is designed. So, but I take this question with a lot of gravity. Affects our community the most, as a lot of other. I do respect the legal system.
Yeah, Ms. Terrell said that's a traffic offense and should not prevent someone from having a case sealed or expunged. That's what I think. That's more about that traffic infraction. There is keeping someone from having their record expunged, and I don't believe that's fair.
Yeah,
but I think we gotta probably have to put some more pressure on our state representatives to try to change that, and I know that's going to be a heck of a task trying to
so
do that.
This is what I'll say to the sentiment behind that. As governor, I will always ensure that I'm uplifting the voices of the people, right? So even in an instance like this where there's advocacy involved, it's important as governor that community leaders are emboldened, empowered, and uplifted to inform the general populace of what's right versus what's wrong, so that, yes, as you just said, pressure is placed on legislators. Again, there's a process when it comes to government. There's the checks and the balances, and I'm very, very respectful of that. But in addition, the way that we ensure that the government works for us from a democratic standpoint of having a democratic governance is the voice of the people. And we have to continue to put pressure on our legislators. But if we have a governor who will also put that pressure on the legislators, then it helps to kind of create that unity in tandem.
Okay. All right. Okay. So now we're going to give you we're going to give you two to 3 minutes and get you out of here. We're going to give you 2 minutes. Look into the camera.
Okay.
And tell the people out there watching all across Florida, all across the nation, around the world. This is the internet. So millions and billions of people may be watching this right now. So tell the people of Florida why they should elect Dayna Marie Foster as your next governor of the state of Florida.
So, as I always say at the beginning of some of my posts, I always say, hey, Florida. But right now, we are living through some very dark times. But just because we are living through dark times does not mean that our story is over. We are actually in a position where we're able to start a new chapter, to write a better chapter for our state. It's a time where we are able to come together as one, as people, and make true change, meaningful change within our state. It's not going to be easy. It's going to take a lot of work, but it's all going to be worth it. because next year we will win. And I want to explain to people also too why I am running. No, I'm not a career politician. No, I don't have the big name that some of these other candidates do. But what I do have is the care. What I do have is the love. What I do have is the respect. What I do have is the integrity. What I do have is the ability to put the needs of Florida above my own. And every day when I wake up, should you elect me to be your governor, I will make sure that I'm fighting for every single Floridian across this state in all 67 counties, in red districts and blue districts, because this is our home. And so we will create economic opportunity. We will fully fund our public education system because public dollars belong in public schools. We will establish healthcare as a right for all Floridians, even if we at the state level have to expand Medicaid, because I know trying to become an amendment on the ballot for next year. We will have gun reformation. Our diversity makes us stronger, and we're going to dismantle these anti-immigrant policies and the propaganda and the assault that we have on people that call Florida home. Nobody is illegal on stolen land. And there are other areas that might not be in our 6 key policy pillars, but they are in our platform. And so I encourage all of you to continue to have this open dialogue because your stories, they matter. I want to hear your concerns. I hear people when they say HOA fees are high, how can you help us? I hear you when you say our insurance premiums are out the roof as it relates to homeowners insurance or flood insurance. I hear you. When we talk about rent controls, we are going to make sure that we do something at the state level for that. So this dialogue, like I said, has to continue. I always want to hear from you. And just know that I will always fight for you and I will always protect you. Rent controls.
And can you tell us too when is the Democratic primary? If you know, I mean, I know I don't.
So I believe there's so many dates, but I believe it's August 18th. I
believe it is too. We posted
it okay.
Earlier. I believe it is too. And how could they donate to your campaign? If there are viewers out there, everyone that's watching, how could they donate to your campaign? And are you on social media?
Our social media is Foster for Florida. The 4 is spelled out, so FOR. And that's across TikTok, Instagram, X.
That's where I saw you at, yes.
Although a lot of people have been gravitating more towards my personal pages. So my personal pages are just Dayna Marie Foster, but our campaign socials are Foster for Florida. Our website is also for fosterforflorida.com. We do have a donate tab, and even with our donations, because I know it's so hard out here, and in my spirit, I feel at times very conflicted because every dollar counts. We're all out here trying to make a dollar out of 15 cents. And so that's why I have wagered this proposition where if 1 million Floridians come together and just donate $1, just $1, we would be able to mobilize. So right now we're based in South Florida, and I'm easily able to get to Dade, Broward, because I live in Broward, and Palm Beach counties. But then when we get into Central and North Florida, it's not as easy to mobilize and travel. Right. And so these dollars will help us to be able to get to places like Orange County and Hillsborough and Pinellas and Pasco and Leon County and Duval, and I want to travel to all 67 counties. I do not care if they are red or blue. They are just counties in Florida. And I want to travel to each and every one of them because listening to the people is how we continue to create and craft a plan that is going to work for us all. And so my policy pillars that I have, they are not set in stone. They are continuously growing and evolving with every event that I go to, every podcast that I will do moving forward, every question that I am asked, because again, it has to reflect the needs of all people. So these questions here in the chat, trust me, they're locked in my brain. And as soon as this call ends, I'm calling my policy director and saying, this is what we need to make sure that is addressed in our policy plan if it's not there already.
Good.
Okay. And I know pastor of our church, he personally asked me to ask you, would you be willing to come speak to the the congregation
Yes.
one
Absolutely.
Sunday? Yeah.
We have your
Absolutely.
contact information. We'll send it through an email when we
Okay.
send the link. So whenever you find the time,
And I'm quite sure other pastors too will want to know
wanna see you.
who is Dayna Marie Foster too. So
Absolutely.
yes, they can reach you.
I'll put it to you like this. Anything is possible when you believe. And when you believe, you have faith. And that I have.
Well said.
Thank
That's
you.
a very good way to end the
End it.
interview. So
Yes.
thank you all. Thank you very much for tuning in. The Auditor podcast, Dayna Marie Foster. She's a candidate for the governor of the state of Florida here in the Sunshine State, and we wish her the very best
Thank you.
in her quest to become our next governor. Change is definitely needed here in the state of Florida, and hopefully you'll be the person next in line to do it. So thank you, Dayna Marie Foster, for joining us here on the Adams Brothers
I want to
podcast.
wish you good luck.
Wonderful interview.
Thank you so much.
Good luck to you, and when you win,
Thank
please
you.
come back and
Yes.
see us here and
I
talk to us
will,
here
I
on the
will.
Adams. Don't forget
And
these
I-
two handsome black brothers face right here, okay?
Absolutely. And please, I encourage everyone, make sure you are registered to vote. They are putting things out there to deter us from voting. Make sure your driver's license number is correct. Make sure your name, address, all of that. Make sure that your information is good to go so that you can come out and vote next year. Hope is on the ballot in 2026.
There you go. Well said. Thank you, Dayna Marie
Thank you.
Foster. Good
Thank
luck
you.
to you, and we'll
Thank
be
you.
hoping to see
To
you
see
back
you
here
At
real
the church.
soon.
Yes.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Good night.
You too.